anyone who's founding a SaaS startup or founding a business, Kate just gave you $1 million worth of game, just saved you years of your life, possibly stopped you from failing. Like even me in my own business, you're just like, wow, like maybe that's a better way to identify what makes me so passionate about what I do, because you just hit the nail on the head. Because sometimes when you come up with a piece of software, you're so focused on what that software does instead of who it does it for or what problem it solves. And that puts you in a box. Like it corrals you, not to be graphic, but it corrals like like when they're corralling an animal or, in down one path, it really isolates you. So I think that's the vibe I'm getting as we talk about your product today. And once again, I've been seeing you in the ecosystem and just been always really like there's more of an aura around Bridge, right? And I would say that's because it's so focused on the problem that the actual technology melts into the background. But I think technology is what solves problems. It's not the problem. It's not
Correct.
the problem set. And so it's just kind of clicking. So if it's clicking for me, I hope it's clicking for all you out there watching, because that is the essence of it, and why like what you're doing is so universal, ubiquitous. Like it's something that is like that's why I think you have some, lightning in a bottle here with what you're doing, because this literally appeals to every brand on the planet who wants to have their product, stand out, be known, grow. Hey, you've had success yesterday. What about tomorrow? Like there's an answer for all of those types of problems, and it's very universal. And so I love the way you encapsulated that. And I'm not just trying to fawn all over it. It's just really, it's just very like spot on. And I think when we compare it to other tech, it's not like, other tech is very focused on one thing, right? Like, hey, we started here. Hey, like we started as a reviews platform and now we have to add these 6 more categories so we can solve more problems. But it's like, it's like coming at it from one step behind, if you think about it, versus your technology could be ever evolving because it's answers to the problem that's a universal problem. And so I think will keep, that will keep Bridge, uh, going forever. And I think that also just the notion of a bridge, if we come back to the concept of a bridge, like there's bridging the gap, there's physical bridges, there's just so many, like it's just a great analogy. So anyway, let me get off the bridge praise train for a moment. Because you're encountering, because this is like where it's like, hey, I think we need to have you back on with a panel or with a brand and really like grill a brand together. But I would say, since you're on the forefront and you're talking to new people every day, and also what you said about the enterprise pricing challenge was really interesting, because if you shortchange your own company, and I think that was a vulnerable founder moment we saw there, is like if you shortchange your own company, it means you can't grow your solution with the scope of their problem. And sometimes you don't see what that is from the outset because you're building that relationship, and it's much harder to redefine that later. So I think that is also a really noble challenge, because it's not just, hey, how do I do right by my team or my shareholders or whatever? It's also, how do we create a relationship that doesn't hit a certain ceiling or hit a certain point in the cage? And that's what I find, as an agency founder. Sometimes it's hard to also create some relationship that doesn't either eventually grow stale, or if you run into a different type of roadblock, how do you navigate that? So I think that's really interesting. So back to what I was saying is, the as a as someone who's encountering brands and retailers every day, and I don't want to just be like, oh, what are the specific industry trends? It's like, what is a problem that's literally new, like a
Mm.
April 2024 problem. I know we're 5 days in. By the way, for all those watching, we had an earthquake today. Kate and I are in the New York, New Jersey metro region, and we just had an earthquake. Okay, so give us a break. It's been a wild day. We know what it's like to be in California now. Literally rumbling for 30 seconds, buildings shaking. So I just had to call that out so we can memorialize this moment. So that's an April 2024 problem, is earthquakes in the East Coast. But the question, back to what I was saying, is what's a brand new challenge? Not just like, okay, tech stack consolidation and some of these more global industry trends, but what is something that you're like, wow, I didn't, that would be really like groundbreaking, earth shattering of a new problem. And I'm not trying to like put you on the spot, but maybe there's something that you're like, hey, I'm seeing this really recently and it's happening.
Yeah. So it's funny because I was just talking. Well, I think it would be um it would be ridiculous of me not to mention AI and how brands are looking to incorporate
Of course.
AI
Yeah.
into their tech stack, but I don't, I know it's like a highly discussed topic, so I'm going to go a little bit deeper than that, but I do want to say like, Bridge is an AI powered platform and we are utilizing AI across multiple different like touch points, whether it's receipt validation and gathering insights from data. So brands are actively looking for how they can incorporate AI into their workflows, into their products,
No,
into
I think that's
their
yeah, that's very relevant.
software. So I think that that's like a topic that should just like I is highly discussed but needs to be addressed. But, like, on the this week question, and it's super funny that you, like, ask it that way because I was talking with my team about how, like, we've had 3 calls that, the number one focus was how they could incentivize more reviews, and specifically from their offline or, retail or marketplace partners, and so as we think about, an Amazon, these or even, Walmart.com, Target.com, these platforms are incentivizing or sorry, you perform better as a brand in these platforms when you have more reviews, more good reviews. So
Facts.
facts. And so it's no secret that brands want reviews and want to have good reviews on these platforms. But what has been surprising is just like the frequency in the last week that we've like heard this as like this is our primary use case. We are looking to drive from our retail, from our marketplace channels, more reviews. How can you support that? So,
Mm.
I don't know what is driving that right this second. I'm actually trying to figure that out. I'm curious if you know, because I would say like a similar trend that we've seen over the last 6 to 9 months has been drive retail velocity. And that I actually like know where that is coming from because brand like CACs are high, brands are getting into retail, then they need to like support that retail. Right, retail sell
Yeah,
through retail.
exactly. If it doesn't sell, they're not gonna reorder it.
Right, correct. I guess maybe what's driving the review is that brands are again focused more on these like e-commerce marketplaces, focused on and like that's where reviews will support them. But I'm curious if you have a perspective there.